4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I am Snooks.
And what an amazing month. You know, we didn't do this, but you know what?
We didn't do what?
We're giving everybody an extra day this month. Just an extra day. You know, it's leap year.
We feel like it. Go ahead and have an extra day.
Yeah, I talked to the big guy. Hey, look, you guys could be doing anything right now in your commute or when you're out gardening or whatever it is you're doing. And we're so thankful that you've chosen to hang out with us. One of the things that we love to do is bring you some subject matter experts, but also bring you, I guess we'll call them subject matter experts when it comes to love as well. We always try and find interesting, incredible, dynamic couples to bring on the show to share with you all. And I can't think of a better time to do that than this month. It's the month of love, right? As a matter of fact, it's International Flirting Week when you hear this episode. And so there's a lot going on. There's Black Love Day, which is today. Today, February 13th, is Black Love Day. There's, of course, Valentine's Day. There's International Flirting Week. Last week was International Marriage Week. There's so much going on. And, of course, we've given you another day to celebrate that love on the 29th. And we'll do that. You know what? Going forward, once every 4 years, we'll just throw that extra day in.
Oh, just because we can.
Because I talked to the big guy.
Okay. I'm glad.
But look.
I hope that's not all you talk to him about.
Extra days to love you? Yes, ma'am.
Ugh.
I tell him I just want one more day. Can I just get one more day with her? Opening up the cabinets and not closing them.
There you go. There you go. You better watch what you ask for, bro.
You may have heard some people giggling in the background. And so what we want to do is, without further ado, actually bring out an incredible couple. Mm-hmm. And I've known them for quite some time. And so I don't want that to be the reason why you're listening. I want you because they have such an incredible story. So without further ado, I'm actually going to play with this technology a little bit.
Oh, so I'm apologize if it's not going smooth. So.
It worked. Okay, so we have with us today Olushile and Latifat Akintade. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
All right, perfect. Because I'm used to using nicknames, so or the shortened names, but I wanted to say the full name. So, if you would, can you tell the audience who you are, where you're from, what you're all about, and what you're best known for?
All right.
Wow. What we're best known for. That's a big one. But thank you for having us here on your podcast today.
Yes, thank you so much. So my name is Olushile, and this is my wife, Latifat Akintade. We met in Nigeria. We about 2002, so it's probably been 22 years. It's been a while. Wow. But we were just hello, hi. But we met in Nigeria. We migrated to the US, and she moved here in 2002. Mm-hmm. I moved 2004, and we started dating 2007. Mm-hmm. Got married 2012. I'm giving you like the short version. And we have three girls. And we thank God for that. I'm in IT. I do IT. I run my own IT business. I've been doing that since 2019. And Latifat is a physician, and she has a coaching business.
Absolutely. I'm a physician, published author, and also have the pleasure of having a community for women physicians that are learning how to learn money so they can be better doctors and live a life of freedom and purpose.
All right. That's the brief version.
So what you're telling me is you got three daughters, you have these amazing careers, and you never sleep.
Yes.
That's not true. So we do sleep very well. We're also just really good with time. We've learned how to be a good team. We've always been a good team. We've learned how to be a better team. And since we've decided that our goal is to live a life of purpose, a life that has meaning, and a life of creating flexibility of time, we have learned to be even a better team.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, where do we sign up?
I swear, right?
So in this theme, so it might be a little different. So I'm curious to get your perspective. So you gave us a little bit about your back. So how long have you been? I don't do math. So
she's been here since
2000. But how long have you been married?
Since 2012.
2012. Okay, cool.
It's going to be 12 years this year.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. So with you coming from Nigeria.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask. So when you guys met, you said that you it was more like a hi bye kind of thing. So when you were in Nigeria, you were not together. You basically, when you both got here, you were like, oh, hey, I know you. Oh, okay. What's up? You kind of cute. Let's do it. So how'd that happen?
Yeah, some part of that, the cute part. Yeah. So the more detailed part is we've been friends for a long time, since Nigeria. We had a mutual friend that was close to me and close to him. And it was kind of like the bridge through which Sheila got to know me more through conversation. But I moved here in 2002. He moved here 2004. We were just friends. This is back in the days where people didn't have emails on their phones like they did now. So to send emails from Nigeria and was actually a pretty big deal. But he would email and just say, hi, friend. But that was pretty much it. Nothing going on, no thoughts. I was focused. Listen, I was like on a mission to be a doctor. That was my entire goal. And if you're standing in that way, I don't see you. I don't know you. Are you going to get me there? If the answer is no, we ain't having a conversation. Can we be real with the audience? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Living with intent.
Yes.
So yes, that's what it was. But he moved to the US in 2004. Unfortunately, after I had lost a brother in the military. And, we would talk back and forth, and I would encourage him. Because I know it's not easy moving into a new country. So we were just friends supporting each other. He was interested. If you are not medicine, I am not married to you. I'm not dating you. I mean, y'all have like married into crazy. I was dating medicine. I'm just being real. And then it was in 2006, right between med school and college, was when God decided that it was time for us to see each other, like actually see, like when you're in a crowd and you actually see. And the way God made that happen was I had gotten scholarship that I didn't even apply for. I remember getting an email and someone going, you have the scholarship. And I'm like, I didn't apply for a scholarship. And I ran to the scholarship office, and the lady was like, well, you had applied for another scholarship, but the pharmaceutical company was looking for people to give the scholarship to, and we forwarded your application from something else to them. Definitely God. But it was I think a $20,000 scholarship, or so $10,000 or $20,000, but there was a condition. And the condition was that I had to do an internship with them in New Jersey. It was a condition. So I had to be willing to go to New Jersey, and they would pay me money for the summer, and they would get me a car for the summer, and they would get me an apartment for the summer. And I'm like, what's the catch? Sign me up. So, but what that meant, and why I say that was a God moment, was he was living in New York then. And so I was in New Jersey, and we've had busy lives in terms of responsibilities, but that became an avenue for us to actually see that each other existed in the world. Right. And that became the start of a deeper friendship that evolved into an official dating relationship about, I don't know, almost a year later.
A year later, and then we started
Long distance.
long distance. So we were dating long distance. We would save up money every 3 months. I would fly to California to see her just for a weekend. I'll fly back, and then 3 months after that, we would have saved enough money. She would fly, and we did that till we got married. So 2007, and then she moved a year before we got married.
Yeah. So
2011.
from January 27 to June 2010, and then I moved to New York for residency. And so for the first time in our dating relationship, we were actually in the same city.
Same city. That's it.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that is. Wow. That's commitment. A number one for you, Latifah, because like you said, if you ain't medicine, I'm not seeing you. I love that. You're just like, get out the way. That's what Ludacris said. Get out of my way. And she like, good for you for just like, woman, you gonna see me. You gonna see me.
You should have seen me when I went in New Jersey. I had the best clothes. I had perfume all over. I was looking so good. I knew.
You prepped for that meeting. But we thank God. I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
Well, and God has blessed you immensely since then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I see that
God has.
You've been traveling the world. You've been taking your children with you, seeing so wonderful things. I love your adventures. And it's just, forget about Waldo. I want to see where the Akintades are at. I want to see where they're at, what they're doing. And it's such a blessing. What made you decide to this past year or so, grab the children and start just traversing and going other places? What was the catalyst for that? And what was it like?
So 2012. 2022, sorry. We went to Aruba. She had a speaking engagement. And so when we got to Aruba, we found out that the average kid that lives in Aruba speak 4 languages. Wow. And so we were fascinated by that. And they speak 4 languages and swim in the ocean. So we said, okay, this is something we've never heard before. How can kids be raised to speak 4 languages and swim in the ocean and be okay? So we started talking about it on the way back. We said, you know what, this is something we'd love for our kids to be exposed to. Mm-hmm. And we were just really, talking lightly about it. We said, you know what, maybe we should take time off. And so we laughed it off. And then about, I think, August, September
of 2022,
I was praying, and my spirit said, it's time for you to take that vacation, that sabbatical. So I told her when she came back from work, I said, I think I'm ready to take the time off. She laughed it off. She said, no, because she was already coaching. She had a money coaching business already going. So she was very good with money, and she still is. And so to her, it's like, okay, we need to plan this, Sheila. You can't just tell me, and then we just take time off, and then we just go. And lo and behold, I'll let you tell your part of the story and how you got convinced into traveling.
No, absolutely. I mean, this was not on a bucket list, right? Mm-hmm. Because, sometimes when you don't necessarily have inspiration for things, mm-hmm. you don't even think that it's necessarily possible for you. Mm-hmm. And you don't even want it because it's not even on your radar of things to want. Mm-hmm. And especially as a busy physician who I'm so grateful to God. I love what I do for the most part. I serve my patients. I love my coworkers and all that stuff. And most times people don't talk about leaving something good. Mm-hmm. They only talk about leaving something bad. Mm-hmm. I was good. We were good. We had a good life before we traveled. Yeah. We had great friends, you guys. Some of our mutual friends. We're blessed beyond measure. We're, by God's grace, literally living not perfect life, but a life that we're so grateful to God for. Not a life we needed to run away from. Mm-hmm. So when Sheila talked about maybe we travel, I was like, we don't do that. We're physicians. We don't do that. Right. And so I just went about my business. And when he said 2 months later that it was ready, I was like, okay, it's smoking something. It's not. I was just like, okay, homie, what's up? Right. But I honestly it really was an act of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much you want to go into that, but it really was God just wanted us to take time off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we were not clear about why, but God was clear
Mm-hmm.
that I want you to do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, sure, we'll do it in a couple of years. We don't like we invest. So we give us some time. And God was like, no, I want you to do it now. And we're like, I guess you're employing. So literally that's what accelerated the whole process, but also because we had done work by getting our finances in order before we even knew that we were going to have that need. And so literally 6 months later, we started our journey. We wanted to go to 9 or 10 countries over a year. We ended up in 19 countries.
19 countries.
Wow.
To say that it was life-changing would be an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
Disclaimer, if you're traveling that long with your family, you better like your kids and you better like your spouse, because you're all going to be stuck with each other for a long time, for 24
Right.
hours. And I'm grateful that it was a great thing.
Yeah, no, but honestly, I think it can be a good thing or a good catalyst to bring you guys together.
Or expedite separation. I'm just being real with your audience.
Hey, look, when we say married into crazy, first off, let me just give you because that right there, I'm talking about, there were so many nuggets.
Yeah.
So many nuggets that you dropped as far, I don't even like to call them nuggets because that's so small. I mean, you dropped some boulders. And this is the married into crazy, so we're trying to make sure that people stay married. But that in itself is amazing. But I love how you said you had to, basically it's like you had done some investing, you prepared your money ahead of time, didn't know this was coming, but there was preparation, right? You had a process, a system already in place of living, not abundantly, but living intentionally and putting money away. And you were able to reallocate, to pivot when you needed to, when God called you to do something a little different. That's crucial.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that is, because without that, it would have been harder to obey. It would have taken a bigger faith, which, doesn't mean it's impossible, but that was the catalyst that even made it possible. And God went even beyond that and blessed us even more crazily, so that we were well taken care of by God's grace.
Yeah.
That's called I love it when you see obedience play out. You know what I mean? A lot of times we're so afraid to do things. I think it reminds me of like in the scriptures when the angels came and they told Mary about she was going to have a baby, and they said it to Sarah, and and there's that disbelief of, what are you talking about, and just not having, just being obedient and saying, okay, Lord, if you told me to do it, then I'm gonna be all right, and look at that. You said you wanted to do 10 countries and you did 19. Wow. That's just about double, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Correct.
That's great. Honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. So our theme this month is talking about Black love, which if there was a poster, I'm afraid that I'm pretty sure if I look in the dictionary, and for those, millennials, a dictionary is a book with
words and
words
meanings.
in it and definitions.
What it means.
Or an encyclopedia. If you could go to Google, look up encyclopedia, and it'll explain what it is.
Exactly.
But if you actually, I think your pictures would be in there when it comes to Black love and what you did with your children. You what sparked this was an idea of something you wanted better for your children, or to at least expose them to another way of living. There's a sacrifice there as parents, as spouses, because our job is to try and do better and create better opportunities for our children. And you did that. And it didn't just happen overnight. It was like, it took prayer. It took some divine intervention. And the fact that you were open to it, I think that's amazing. You know, and that, to me, that's the epitome of Black love. But let me ask you, if we're going to ask a definition of what you were to say Black love is, what is that?
To be honest with you, I will say that it may sound cliche and weird, but it's loving each other imperfectly every day, choosing that every day, and being willing to understand that your journey is going to look different than someone else's, and being willing to look crazy in that journey, even when those around you outside of your relationship don't see your vision.
And I'll just add to that. I was opportuned to do a little bit of history when we moved here, and history tells us that blacks in America, maybe like in the 70s, 80s, we actually worked together. Like the husband is working, the wife is working. They were both a team, and they worked together to take care of the family. And somewhere along the line, an idea came, which is you don't need each other, or one doesn't need the other, and then the division started. But that was not the case before. Husbands and wives, especially blacks, in context, would live together and help one another and work together. And so, to define Black love, well, is to go back to that, where we actually are a team, right? We are not perfect, but as long as we're working together, there's nothing else that can, the Bible says, in our head, one would chase 1,000, but two would chase.
This is it's spot on. It's about the teamwork, right? And so often we put our careers first. If you go on LinkedIn, you'll see all kinds of rhetoric around advancing your career, all these different tools, resources for your career. We're trying to change a few things, but getting people to also focus on the fact that if you're not happy at home, how could you possibly be happy at work or be productive at work? And that the best way to prepare yourself for a solid career is to ensure that you have a solid home first. But I think that so many things, society has a way of telling us, go out, get the money, get the house, get this other thing, and then you can eventually work. By the time you get all these things and you start working on your relationship or your home, you're going to notice that you have a house, but it's not truly a home. And I love how you two are doing just the opposite. You're building a home. And as a matter of fact, you took your home on the road. That is awesome.
Yeah. I also like how, you talked about history, you hit on some key things, because there was a point where, and I think we kind of talked about, Lovey and I were talking about this not too long ago, about in the 50s and in the 60s or whatever, how cohesive the households seem to be, as opposed to what's going on, right now. The fact that you touched on that, because that was going to be that question specifically, but I was going to ask, in your journey together, how has history, as you see it regarding Black love, how do you feel like? Do you feel like it's shaped you, your relationship, and if not shaped you, but the things that you've seen, what can you say that's changing, like how your love is changing, how other people may see it?
That's a very good question. I think for me, and I'll let you share too. For me, I think I've seen abuse even in my home. When I was growing up, I've seen abuse in in my family, my nuclear family back home in Nigeria. I've seen, men beat their wives growing up, and watching and realizing, and I think this is literally God's grace. I was, I saw so many of it that I said, I do not want this. And I don't know why I said that. When I was young, I said, I do not want this. That if this is what marriage is, this is not good. And I thank God, honestly, that I found Christ very early on when I went to college. And I think that was what helped me, because there, there are many people, let me say this, there are many people who do not want abuse, but end up repeating history. And it's not like they want to, it's just that they are yet to learn something else, something better. And I thank God that I found Christ early. I think that was what really helped me, because I was probably going to repeat history if not for Christ, and knowing that, okay, with Christ and continuously pursuing Christ would help me realize that I dare not lay my hands on any woman, right? And to be honest with you, even now, 12 years of marriage, I still have to continue to pursue Christ. Like we say, you never arrive. You just never arrive. You have to continue to seek Him, and He will help you. So history. So saying that, and to wrap up, I would say there has been abuse, and we're seeing more of the abuse today, right? And in a way, it looks like it's getting worse, unfortunately.
I mean, what I will say is, I actually didn't want to get married. And the reason why I did not want to get married, I wasn't one of those people that were dreaming about their wedding day and like what they would wear. None of that. None of that. And the reason why it was because I did not like the examples of marriages that I saw. And in fact, I remember thinking very clearly that if this is what marriage is, I don't want it. That was literally my thought about marriage. And I share that because, there are going to be people that are listening to this that may not be married, or may be married and want a different, and not have examples of relationships that they're inspired to be. And that's okay, because I did not have that example. But sometimes we need to bring, you mentioned scarcity and abundance. You need to widen your scope of view. We think that our parents are the only examples we can either model or not model. If you don't have an example that you can model, it's okay for you to increase your view of scope, right? You're listening to a podcast right now. Our hosts are amazing. You can learn from them. They don't have to be related. You don't even have to have ever met them for them to give you hope that it's possible to have a relationship that actually thrives. But what I'm grateful to God for was, when I moved to the US, I did not want to get married. I was like, I ain't about that life. I do not want that life. I do not want to be stuck. My freedom is important. My freedom of expression, my freedom of being, right? Just that I knew that there's just that seed that I think God has planted in me, that is a seed of freedom of mind, time, and just like process and all that. But I was very fortunate that when we moved here, we lived with my aunt, who unfortunately is now late, and her husband. And they were the first example of friendship in a relationship that I had ever witnessed. It was so weird to see people that played with each other and laughed with each other very well. They worked together. They spent pretty much 24 hours together because they owned a business together. If one of them ate without the other, like you're eating without me, it's called cheating. Like that's what we called it. You cheated on your wife because you ate without her. Like literally. And we joked around, but God knew that I needed that to see that it didn't have bad. So that him just gave me hope. And as I've gotten older, unfortunately, I'm really sad that she passed. She was a very dear. She was a second mom to me. She passed at the age of 49. And now I had examples of Black love, or just love, period, that is good, that was good, but was cut short. Right? And now that becomes another problem that I need to solve. And so God is working on that belief, and I'm actively increasing the scope of my own view as well. So when I see people that I believe by discernment that they have a good relationship. I note that. And especially they're like in their 80s and they're alive and they're still keeping it together. I'm like, okay, that's an example of what's possible. So
Right.
again, for those that are listening, it's okay to look for that. And your brain just needs something to believe. But also, whether it's relationship, whether it's money, whether it's career, if you look around and you cannot find an example of what's possible, I always tell my people that means you've been tagged. You're it. So you can create it and be that example for other people too.
That's good. I
right.
like that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, let me snap my fingers for that one. Yeah, I like it.
That is good. You know, again, boulders. You're dropping boulders, not nuggets, but boulders. What I heard was that you are creating history. You're changing. You know, I'm not going to call them generational curses. I think that phrase is tossed around way too often. But talking about the way that you were raised and what you witnessed, what you saw, that we have a choice to go down that path or forge a new path. That is the creation of history.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But it's also not just about, like you said, generational curses. So when I was working in the prison, I worked with a lot of Nigerians, and we had various conversations about so because some of the men,
Just saying Nigerians are in prison. Is that what you're saying? That Nigerians are in prison? I heard that loud and clear. I heard that loud and clear. Sorry to cut you off, but I had to point out that.
No, but
My
what I was saying is that we would have these conversations about like how the men were, how the women were, and what the expectation was. And and it was so funny because here I am, I'm like I would pick up a frying pan or whatever if I have to, because they talked about kind of what you alluded to, how they grew up and what it meant to be the husband, iron fist kind of, and the woman more submissive. I have no problem with submission, but it was almost abusive. And it was more of like, one of the ladies told me, she goes, well, that's because you're from here and you're not from, from where I am. And that's how things were done there. The point that for you two to be specifically state like, we're not doing that, because just because I saw that does not mean I have to be that. And so I think that you give, you're creating a different type of community, I'll say, within the nationality, within the culture. I'll say that because you're saying that's not okay to be that way just because this is where you're from, so you're starting a whole new trend, so all my African women, all my Nigerian women, or any other race, it doesn't matter if you were born here, wherever it is, just know that that's not okay. And you don't have to accept it, like you said earlier, just because that's what you saw. Lovey and I, that's kind of the reason why we kind of created how Married into Crazy came about. We had examples and we're like, we want to be better. So I want my kids to see better because I dreamed of all the wedding and stuff. I'm girl, when I say I am a lover of love, I am not even playing about it. I was very serious and I knew what I wanted. So for you to be that way, to say those things, I love it. And I applaud you both for it because you could have just stuck with, well, this is what I saw, so that must be the way that it is. But honestly, Sheila, I think that Latifah might lay you out. So,
No, and I like the phrase.
One thing that
No, as I said, there was a phrase that you used to, and you said, all love, all marriages, and the only reason why we're really focusing on Black love right now is because it's Black History Month, and we want to show where, Black history intersects with, the month of love, Valentine's Day, all that stuff going on this month, the month of February. So we're saying that there is black love because there is a stereotype that's been portrayed consistently in the media, in movies, in songs and what have you, that doesn't show a loving husband and wife that are concerned about their children's education, that care about their finances, that want to create legacy, that want to grow, that want to be more than what was shown to them when they were children, that they're not complacent. And that's what the focus is this month. And I think that you two are a banner couple to really start the series off with.
Seriously, you guys exemplify what that means. I mean, when you talk, just listening to you talk about your intention, how focused you guys were, and even how you continue that in your marriage. There was a couple years ago, I think we talked about what Black excellence is, and honestly, I salute y'all, because I'm like, when we get off of this, I'm be like, okay, girl, so what was that class again? I mean, it's something that everyone can benefit from. And so actually, if you don't mind, let's actually talk about that. You're an author. So how did that come about?
To be honest with you, this is, and I'm just going to be honest with your audience. And the reason why I want to be honest with your audience is sometimes what you least expect would help people is what will help them. I shared that we had no plans of traveling. That was not in our plan. A lot of the things that I'm doing in my life are things that I thought I either never considered or thought I could never do. And I will say, before I answer your question, that a lot of times we talk about going from bad to good, but we don't talk about going from good to great. And so if people are listening, they have a good relationship, I'm even going to challenge them to take it up a whole notch. And that's a challenge that we've also accepted for ourselves, which is how can we get even better? How can we get even greater in our relationship, right? But to go to the author story, I did not think I was going to be an author. Again, my goal was to be a physician. And just I would have been happy, died happy a long time from now if I can just be an excellent physician. That's my entire goal. But some of that changed 7 years ago when we decided that we wanted to live our lives more intentionally. I don't like regret, and I want to live a life where I can look back and not have many regrets, or small regrets but not big ones. And part of that is us being able to live our lives intentionally, live our lives and not burn out. There's a lot of burnout in medicine. And so that journey to not living a life of regret led us to learning about money and deciding that we were going to figure out our finances. So I had no plans of becoming an author. I had no plans of being a money coach or someone that has a money school for women physicians. But the journey of us figuring out our stuff was just for us only, to help ourselves. And a lot of decent people in the world, when you find something good, you want to share it. So we started sharing it with our friends. I would, teach my friends, and they started doing great stuff. They were paying off debt, bad debt, not all debt. They were investing in assets. They were becoming better physicians because they were not practicing because they had no choice. They were practicing because they chose to practice. And when you're doing things because you want to, the energy is different. You do it better. You do it more effectively. But I had no plans of starting a business or writing a book. But when the pandemic started, physicians were getting laid off, nurses were getting laid off, and people that were not laid off were worried about their money, and we were not worried about our money. And what that meant was that we could now focus on things that were even more important, like our kids' mental health, like making sure our parents were safe, and other things that does not entail worrying about money. Because I truly believe that worrying about money is almost like a cultural curse that we have, where it's preventing us from living life extraordinarily or focusing on things that matter just as much or better, like relationships, because we're so worried about money, we don't even have the mental space to think about how can we have an extraordinary relationship with our kids or our spouse or ourselves. And so when the pandemic started, I honestly felt like I had a solution to a problem, and I had no choice but to do it. I was literally kicking and screaming, oh my God, I really don't want to. I'm good. But that journey was what eventually led to the book, where after coaching and working with hundreds and now thousands probably, and not just in my own community, but in the, talking and coaching and all that stuff, women physicians, is I realized that many times people talk about money, but no one talks about relationship with money. And our relationship, just like our relationship with our spouse, is the core of the results that comes out of our home. Our relationship with money is probably like the missing piece, one of the major missing pieces when it comes to money. So I got tired of talking about it. And I also have many loves that are not physicians that kept on saying they wanted to learn from me, but I did not have the capacity to work with non-physicians. So I figured instead of talking to individuals too many times, let me get some of this into a book that can help people that I may never meet. And so that's how the book Done with Broke, A Woman Physician's Guide to More Money and Less Hustle, that's how it came into being. Long answer to your question. My apologies.
No, great answer.
Great answer.
Great answer. And it just for those, listen, all listeners, it comes in a variety of forms. So not only is it in print that you can order on Amazon, you can also get an audiobook. How do I know? Because I'm not a physician, so I went out and got the audiobook so I can listen to it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
No,
the
thank you.
audiobook I recorded in a professional, so I couldn't yell at y'all, because if I recorded in my house, I would have been like, listen, people, get this money ish together so you can do other stuff. I promise you, your life will be so much better if you don't have to worry about money. You can actually go on date nights and like your spouse a little bit more.
Right.
Anyways, sorry.
Nope. Keep it. Look, this is that's the R in crazy, keeping it real. So yes. We
Absolutely.
like it.
And there's a level of accountability. The A in crazy is accountability. And the two of you have created an accountability, not just in your marriage, but in your finances.
So that you can stay zealous, which is the Z in crazy, for each other, for your relationship. So yes.
And since we're going there, the Y stands for yielding. And I have to say that when you looked at just the story you told earlier, that the way that you two made a decision to actually travel the world with your children, you yielded. Sheila first had the idea. It was like you said, you guys were talking, joking about it, came up again a couple months later, and then brought it up to Latifat, and she was like, I'm not sure we're going to do that. There was a yielding. Even Sheila at that point had to say, okay, you know what, because this message has to be heard, it has to resonate in order for us to do it as a couple. And then I commend you, Latifat, for yielding to God when God spoke to you. And I know it wasn't one of those, okay, God, yep, okay, I got it, first chance, yep, I'll do it. No, it was more like, are you sure about this? Are you sure? Look, maybe, wait, did I have some wax in my ears? Because maybe I heard it wrong.
So crazy.
But the fact that you yielded allowed you to live the C, which is that compassionate.
I was about to say, so you were able to be compassionate the whole trip that you were there. Because like you said earlier, if you're going to take one of those kind of trips, you better love your spouse and your children, because you are with them 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
We love each other. We love each other. Do we love each other for that kind of trip?
Not yet.
We don't know until we get there. But listen, I read some of the chronicles that Latifat was sharing on your travels. One of us would have got left. I'm just saying. I'm thinking. So
I love the why.
Oh, go ahead.
I love the yielding so much that you have in there, because I think it's something that we don't talk enough about as a culture. Relationships don't get good or great because you're doing 50% each. Relationships get good and great because you're each doing 100%.
That's right.
And sometimes there's times when one spouse can do 0 and the other does 100%. And I just love that why. so
That's right.
much. But I'm also disappointed that it's not just crazy as in crazy, because I thought it was validating my crazy, but apparently the words actually mean other things. And now I gotta stop being a little
Little
less
crazy.
crazy. Yeah,
No, it's in the
exactly.
blood.
No, you don't actually, because we say what it means. It's an acronym, but sometimes it is just crazy. Sometimes it's just
Yeah,
crazy. So, you know,
just
we
a little bit of
we cover. I'm every woman. I say that all the time. I'm compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. And sometimes I'm just crazy. So I'm every woman. And so, and you can be too. You can join me in this journey. Okay.
And let the choir say
Um,
amen. Listen,
we have the choir. You and I.
amen. Okay, so like we're gonna come to a close, but before I do want you to be able to let everyone know where they can learn more about not just your book, but your coaching for those women physicians that are out there that just know that there's something better for them, that they couldn't have gone through all that training to do what they thought they loved, just to still feel unfulfilled, to feel like something is missing. Can you share that information? Maybe give like a brief description of, is it Money Fit Coach? Give us the full title, and then also how to reach you and follow you.
Absolutely. So it's called Money Fit MD, and what you described is exactly what it is. Um, we're meant for so much more. We're meant to create so much difference in this life, more than our brains can contain. But it starts with doing what the heart does. And what the heart does is, the heart is an important organ, feeds every part of the body. But the first thing that it does is it feeds itself. And I believe that it's designed to be an example for all of us. And that's what Money Feed MD is about. It's about perfusing doctors financially and mindset wise, so that they can now perfuse everybody else. The best way to learn more is, if you're listening to this on a podcast listening platform, just just search for Money Feed MD, MONEYF as in Frank, ITMD. Sheila and I also have a podcast that we're going to be relaunching. It's called The Anchored in Christ. And it's talking about just like living our lives yielding to God. But both of those you can access on any platform, podcast listening platform. That's the easiest way. And of course, you can find me on my website, which is Money Feed MD. I'm all about serving physicians. I'm learning every day how to do a better job at that. And if there's any way I can serve you, please let me know. I do care about our freedom.
Fantastic. Listen.
So before we actually close, I just want to say, I want to commend Sheila also, because a lot of men, they can't, they don't handle their women or their wives being like maybe a little bit more in the forefront. Some of them don't handle that very well. I mean, you have 3 girls at home, and you got your woman, and the smile on her face says you are doing an awesome job. So I just want to say hats off to you too, because you are holding it down. So yes, ma'am.
I mean, I'm going to tell you all the truth. So Sheila is a little bit more reserved, but do not be confused. Do not be confused by the strength of this guy.
Amen.
Without him, Money Feed MD will not exist. Not because I cannot do it by myself, but I would be doing 40% because it literally kicks my bum. Because it's like, I refuse to let me not be the reason why you're going to accomplish what God has created you to do. Because he knows that is accountable to God. And vice versa, we kick each other's butt. So, babe, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, I think, yeah, my goal is, I don't want anything to stand in her way to fulfill her purpose, because I believe everyone has a purpose. There's something you're called to do, something God has gifted you, and it's gifted everyone. And so many times she would say, I want to do this. And I think about it, I'm like, yeah, have you assessed it? Yeah, let's do it. And I think it goes back to that team effort, team effort. Right?
Sometimes I don't want to do it, and it's like you have to do it. No, let's be honest here. I'm like, I don't want to do a video. I don't want to do a podcast. Well, the moment you think about it, you've already done it, so you might as well do it.
I'm like, opportunity cost. You thought about it. It's a good idea. Are you gonna regret it if you don't do it? Go ahead and do it. So.
That's what's up.
I like that.
That's what's up.
Look, we're going to end it there because look, listen, y'all need to put this on rewind, go back, listen again, get your notepad out, take some notes. There's a lot of information here that I think there's some golden nuggets. And you can, like I said, you don't have to be running away from a great, let me back up. You don't have to be running away from something bad in order to find something good. Or the enemy of great
is good. Right.
Because we're just, I'm good. How often do we say,
all the time,
I'm good. When our relationships can be great or even phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Our finances.
Words, man. I'm saying it.
That's because you've been around me for so long.
Whatever.
You're learning. She's learning. That's my Padawan.
Wow, I'm learning.
I'm the Jedi Master. But it's just that. I mean, and so go back and listen, please. Watch it on YouTube so you can see this beautiful couple. Listen to it on your podcast venues. The information that they shared will be contained in the show notes, so you'll be able to click on a link and be able to go directly to MoneyFit MD and to their podcast as well. When you said it's going to be relaunched, how soon is it going to be coming out?
Yes, definitely. I think in a month from now, we already have some recordings, but we just need to get back on them and start and continue to record some more. Yeah.
All right. That's that accountability again. Look, the world needs what you have as a couple.
Right.
Absolutely. We need more people out there lifting up the sanctity of marriage and sharing the covenant and modeling, like they were talking about earlier, modeling. If you don't have somebody in your circle that you've been around, here's yet another couple that you'll be able to watch, listen to, gain inspiration from, so you can create your own history. So get out there this month in February. Look, I gave you an extra day. I talked to God about that extra day for you. So get out there, enjoy each other, love each other. If you're listening to it in the week that it's coming out, that's this week, and the week of Valentine's Day. This is International Flirting Week. Be sure to flirt with your spouse and nobody else, with your spouse this week. So until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy E.T. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking. Click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is going to take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.